Hi all, I'm Pratisha from Group 10. Today I'm going to present our first study topic, replacement of plastic waste as aggregate in concrete. Plastic, one of the most significant innovations of 20th century, is its ubiquitous material. It is generated in large quantities all over the world. The plastic waste is now a serious environmental threat to the modern civilization. Plastic is the biggest threat to the environment and it is affecting the environment rapidly. To solve this problem, shredded plastic has been used as partial replacement of aggregates. Some of the recent studies show that it can be used in construction industry due to some of its properties like inert behavior, resistance to degradation, etc. Also, use of waste plastic can help in reducing plastic waste. Problem statement. Aggregate is limited natural resources and non-renewable resources. The availability of conventional fine aggregates, that is, river sand, has become scarce and sand mining affects the riverbed, characteristics increasing the cost of concrete. Plastic waste need a long time to decompose, so large quantity of plastic causes land, water and air pollution. It is believed that breakdown of plastic takes time of more than 1,000 years. Improper plastic waste management leads to several environment and health hazards. Some of the advantages of plastic waste replacement are: disposal of large quantity of plastic causes land, water and air pollution. It is more beneficial in cost of construction works. It produces lightweight concrete. It has good durability and longevity. It is good resistance to chemicals, water and impact. It has excellent thermal and insulation properties. Literature review. These are some of the past experimental works. The following conclusions were drawn from the past experimental work. There is a reduction in compressive strength of concrete with more than 10% of plastic. There is an enhancement in the tensile strengths for respective replacement of aggregate with plastic. The flexural strength of concrete increases with addition of plastic between 10% to 15% replacement by weight of plastic, and it was observed that the split tensile strength of concrete increased up to 10% replacement of aggregates by plastic. The workability increases with increase in percentage of plastic. Material properties. Cement. Grade 43 ordinary Portland cement was used for casting tubes and cylinders for all concrete mixes. These are the physical properties of the cement. Aggregates. As per the laboratory tests, the various physical properties of fine and coarse aggregates are given in the table. Waste plastic. The waste plastics used for this study are thermoplastic of low density of polyethylene plastics obtained from domestic, commercial and industrial waste sites. Mixed design. Specimens were casted for different volume percentages of plastic, partially replacing natural aggregates in concrete with recycled plastic aggregates, that is 0 to 0%, 5 to 5%, 10 to 10%, 15 to 15% and 20 to 20%. The cube specimens of size 115 to 115 to 150 mm were casted for different proportions with RPAs and compared with the properties of concrete prepared without RPA. Similarly, cylinder specimens of size 115 to 300 mm were casted for different proportions with RPAs and compared with the properties of concrete prepared without RPA. The mold were demolded on next day and subjected to curing for 28 days. The table shows the mixed proportions for 1 meter cube of concrete with various plastic percentages. Some of the experimental tests and results are: slump test. This test measures the consistency of fresh concrete before it sets. It is performed to check the workability of freshly made concrete. When this test was conducted, the slump is decreasing sharply with increase in placed waste plastic ratio. The reduced slump values of waste plastic concrete mix is due to slighter fluidity and non-uniformity in shape of plastic particles. Compressive strength test. This is used to determine the compressive force or the crush resistance of material and ability of material to recover after specified compressive force is applied and even held over a period of time. It was observed that there was a decrease in compressive strength by 27.7%, 47.7, 71.9 and 81% with an increase in plastic content for various percentage replacement respectively. Split tensile strength test. Split tensile strength test is used to determine the tensile strength of concrete using a cylinder which splits across a vertical diameter. Cylindrical specimens of size 150 into 300 mm were casted for various curing ages and for various percentage replacement of fine and coarse aggregates. The tensile strength of resultant mix is obtained by taking the average of the three specimens. The trend is shown in the chart given. Dry density. Before performing compressive strength test, the dry density is analyzed first for various curing periods of each specimen replaced by a certain amount of waste plastic. It is found that the concrete specimens replaced by waste plastic contained reduced unit weight. Conclusion. The present study observes that both the fresh and the hardened state properties tend to decrease as the percentage replacement of plastic in the concrete mix increases. The slump decreases sharply with increase in waste plastic ratio. These types of mixes can be utilized in situations which require low degree workability. The compressive and the split tensile strength of the concrete mix also decreases with increase in waste plastic ratio for all curing ages. With a replacement of 5 to 5%, the achieved strength was almost M30, which would be used to make pathways, roadways and external walls and slabs. With a replacement of 10 to 10%, the achieved strength was almost M20, which was used as bedding of footings, domestic floors with reduced cost. With a replacement of 15 to 15%, the achieved strength was likely as M10, which could be used as patio slabs, pathways and other non-construction structural works. With lesser density, the 10, 15 and 20% replaced specimens fall under the lightweight concrete category, hence decreasing the death weight of the structure. The various civil engineering applications where it can be used are namely the precast bricks, partition walls, panel walls, canal linings and so forth. Thank you. Now our next topic will be continued by Akshara.
Good morning all. I am Akshara MS. So our next study topic is recycled polypropylene formwork technology for construction purposes. So these are the contents involved in this presentation. Introduction. As we know, one of the obstacles with concrete construction in case of horizontal slab is high weight, which limits the span. So recycled polypropylene formwork technology is a void slab technology in order to overcome this obstacle. So what is recycled polypropylene formwork technology? It's actually a void formwork placed in between the top and bottom reinforcement of slab. It is used to create slab with large span or that are able to support large loads without beams. It is designed to create lightened slabs and raft. This technology of hollow slabs with post-tensioned steel reduces the weight of slab and thickness. So these are the material mainly used for this technology: cement, steel, fine aggregate, water and recycled plastic shells. For the production of formwork units, we are using recycled polypropylene. So the question is, why only we go for polypropylene? Why can't we go for other polymers? It's because polypropylene is chemically inert in nature and it has very high melting point. It is very resistant to cracks and stress as it is a flexible material. Next thing is about accessories. The first one is spacer joint. It is also called a connection bridge. It gives perfect bearing capacity to formwork. It is used to connect two units with graduated scale. Second one is closing plate. It actually covers the bottom portion of framework unit. So the next question is how we install this polypropyl formwork units within a slab. So as we know, the first stage is construction of formwork. Second stage is we are placing that lower reinforcement structure above that formwork. Above that lower reinforcement structure, we are placing the polypropyl formwork units. In between that polypropyl formwork units, we are placing triangular reinforcement system. Actually, this triangular reinforcement system is act as beams. Above that, we are providing upper reinforcement system and pouring of concrete is being done. After attaining enough strength, these formworks are removed from the slab. So next we are going to discussing about that carrying capacity. Test has shown that for a bubble deck slab with the same load carrying capacity can be used only 50% of concrete required for a solid slab. In other hand, we can say that by using same amount of concrete, that bubble deck slab or that this kind of hollow slab will give twice the amount of carrying capacity from that of solid slab. So next is about the advantages of this technology. It has led to reduce the dead weight up to 50%, which allow creating foundation size smaller. Reducing material consumption made it possible to make construction time faster. The thing is 1 kilogram of recycled plastic replaces 100 kilogram of concrete. So the overall cost reduces. The triangular reinforcement is provided for the purpose of work as the beam, as we mentioned earlier. So we can avoid the beams fully from the structure. Since we can avoid that beams, the slab thickness will decreases and it will leads to increase in number of floors that we can compare it, we can get it from this figure. The next thing is the structure is able to bidirectionally transmit the load. Usually the load is transmitting to slabs. From slab load is transmitting to beams, from beam to pillars, pillars to foundation. In this case, loads are directly transmitting to pillars and from there it's transmitting to foundation. It has high fire resistance, so the chances of spreading the fire to the higher stories are very less, and it has high sound insulation as we are using polypropylene formwork, and it is very resistant to earthquake also. The next slide is about the application of recycled polypropylene technology. It can be used in public building, hospitals, industries, etc., and using raft foundation and two-way slabs also. So as a conclusion, we can say that it is eco-friendly, economic and sustainable technology. By reducing the consumption of concrete and steel, the structure will become more economic. And as we know, by reducing the consumption of concrete, we can reduce the production of cement, and it will leads to allows to reduce the global carbon dioxide emissions. Less use of iron in slabs, pillars, and foundation up to a total of 50%. The structure will be anti-seismic and it's a very useful technology. Finally, these are the resources that I am getting informations from, and and thank you.
Hi all, I'm Amalu Sajir. I'm here to present to you our design project, Rainwater Harvesting Solar Harnessing System. In order to conserve and meet our daily demand of water and energy requirement, we need to think for alternative, cost-effective, and relatively easier technological methods of conserving water and harnessing solar energy. We all know the statistics of Earth's availability of water. Only 3% of it is fresh. In India, Water scarcity has always been a problem. According to UN reports, India is forecast to overtake China as the most populous country in the world within a decade. So it's high time that we switch to more eco-friendly methods to save our resources. Now, coming to conservation of energy, our sun provides more than enough energy to meet the world's energy needs, and unlike fossil fuels, it won't run out anytime soon. As a renewable energy source, the only limitation of solar power is our ability to turn it into electricity in an efficient and cost effective way. Now, coming to the objectives of our project to meet the increasing power and water demand, multi purpose and efficient use of public spaces, promote the use of sustainable economic solutions such as solar energy to raise the groundwater table. We all know the situation of Kerala during monsoon. Drains are overflowing, roads are getting flooded, people lose their belongings and their lives. We need to bring an end to this. That's one of our major objectives. Now, how this thing works. I'll explain this to you using a diagram. It comprises of a flexible inverted canopy and a steel unibody. It has solar cells to provide energy, water generation from rain, energy storage, live lighting, and a charging station. At 12 feet high and 300 square feet coverage area, it is also a very large shading device under which almost 20 people can sit or two cars can be parked. It collects rainwater, filters the water using a physical filter, then it reaches the storage tank through pipes. A part of the water is used to operate a UV water filter for drinking purposes. Another part of this water is used to run a low flush toilet placed adjacent to the parking. We took two of these units and joined it together. Each unit can harvest and filter up to 100,000 liters during the rainy season. During summer and at times of water shortage, normal water is used to run the toilet.
Thank you, Amalu. I'm Sri Lakshmi. Let us move on to the next slide, that is components. The first one is a flexible inverted canopy. It is segmented, that is, it is divided into 8 triangles. The area of each canopy is 6 meter into 6 meter. The material of the canopy can be anything that we find locally. It should be thin, impervious to water, and flexible. Then the next component is a steel unibody which is supported on the ground and it holds our canopy. So the height of this steel unibody is 12 feet and it has a diameter of 0.32 meter. So it is through the inside of this steel body that water flows and moves into the underground tank. The next component is solar cell to provide energy. We are using 6 number of panels, that is we are placing 6 of these panels on each of the segments. So 2 segments will be left void. So type of panel we are using is polycrystalline and the watt of each panel is 250 watt peak. So overall from one unit we get an output of 1.5 kilowatt peak. So from 2 units we get an output of 3 kilowatt peak. This energy is stored in an energy storing device having 200 ampere hour and 12 volt specification. Then we have provided live lighting. There are 4 live lights in each unit and another lighting provided in the toilet. Then we have used a pump to pump the water from the underground tank into the toilet. There are charging stations provided which are powered by the energy storing device. Each charging station can power 2 mobile phones and a laptop. We have also provided a UV water purifier which is powered by a solar energy, and in addition we have also provided a low flush toilet nearby which uses the rainwater to run during monsoon. Moving on to next slide. Let us discuss how we have calculated the annual rainfall harvesting potential. In order to do this calculation, we have assumed that we are designing the structure for a parking space in Trivandrum. So we have used the annual average rainfall of Trivandrum, that is 1.754 meter. Then we have taken the catchment area as the area of one canopy, that is 36 meters square, and we have taken runoff coefficient as 0.8. Runoff coefficients vary from 0.6 to 0.9. So based on the imperviousness, we can take it as 0.8. So using the equation V is equal to KIA, we find that the annual rainwater harvesting potential of 1 unit is 50.5 meter cube. So for 2 units, we get a total of about 100 meter cube of output. So now let's see how we have calculated the size of the water tank. To calculate it, we have assumed one parameter. We have assumed the depth as 4 meter. We know we have to design a tank of capacity 100 meter cube. So we have taken length as 2 times breadth, and doing the computations, we have obtained length as about 7 meter, breadth as 3.53 meter, and depth as 4 meter. So let us discuss the important question that is glowing in the face of this project. Why is it better than traditional water harvesting and solar energy harnessing systems? So compared to traditional water harvesting and solar harvesting system, this method is so much more economical. So in the long run, using this would give you better benefits than going over the traditional ones. Long-term warranty and low maintenance costs are another factors. And in addition to helping you cut the electricity bill, it also helps you cut your water bills. That is, we get a multi-purpose use out of this structure. So now in urban areas, especially urban areas, we prefer dynamic materials. We don't want to see concrete buildings anymore. So this structure is aesthetically pleasing, and it uses a variety of local materials that we find around us. So yeah, that's a plus point. Then it fulfills a social responsibility to reduce carbon emission. Yes, that is a need of the hour. As earthlings, it is our responsibility to protect our mother earth. So there are little things that we can do, and this is one of them. So this has much lower carbon footprint than most traditional alternatives that you find. So with that, let us move on to the next. Let us look at the further applications of rainwater harvesting solar harnessing systems. First point, it can be used anywhere where you need an open space with a shade, where there are no hindering walls. That is, it can be used as green workstations, reception areas, cafeterias, and bus stops. Another good point is that it can be used for remote rural areas where it is costly to lay down transmission lines and water pipelines. There we can use this as a standalone water harvesting and power producing device. So it is economical considering the constraints that we have to provide these in rural areas. It can also be used in open parking lots of airports, railway stations, malls, etc. We see our vehicles heating up under the sunlight. So this is a very good way of converting that heat into electricity that we can use, and at the same time saving a few bucks on water bills too. Further, you can use it to recharge the groundwater below. That is the scenario that we see around us, is that most of the floors, most of the outdoor spaces are concreted. That is, water just runs off. There are no holes for it to seep into the ground. So using this, we can collect the rainwater, and instead of providing a tank at the bottom, we can easily open the water and allow it to flow into the ground below. So this is a very good way of allowing water to seep into the ground where the ground is concreted. That's it. So here I mentioned the bibliography, and thank you for watching the presentation.